Hi Gemini, thank you for joining me and welcome to my channel. This is your reading for the eclipse. Oh look, you have a little child. You're the first reading I'm doing by sign, and it's your birthday, so happy birthday, little children. Geminis, everybody always says Geminis are like children, right? So let's talk about astrology first, and I'll kind of go over some of the big things to pay attention to while the eclipse is happening. And then we'll do some tarot card readings and just see where things go, okay? So the full moon is happening around 6 degrees of Sagittarius, but it's informed by Gemini, your sign. So it's a good thing you go first. So the sun in Gemini is sending its light to the moon in Sagittarius in opposition. That's a full moon. And there will be a break when the earth comes into the center of that luminescence and breaks it, right? So the way that I would think about this, we'll just get right into it, is to kind of pay attention to the North Node that's also in Gemini. This is a very sacred position of the North Node, or any position. There's a very famous star called Aldebaran, and I've been talking about that on other media sources, so you guys may have heard about it. And this was very important when Venus created a conjunction with the North Node on May 19th. And it will continue to be a really relevant energy through the end of June, so through the entire eclipse season. Anyway, so the North Node means your destiny, where you are meant to go. There's two positions on the chart that describe where you are going in life. There's more than that, but two really important ones. There's the MC up here, which really talks about your physical life on Earth, like who you are, what you do, tangible things. And the North Node is the best way to explain the North Node has to do with this sort of spiritual destiny. It's called Dharma or purpose, okay? So the sun with the North Node are in conjunction. That's an eclipse, right? And so at this time, you are getting an opportunity to look back on your past, specifically in the realm of relationships, and gain insight about where you have been going or where you've been and where you want to see things go from here, right? So you have this very powerful moment. It lasts several hours, but the whole kernel of it, like the peak of it, is like 15 to 20, 30 minutes long. And so when it happens, it's almost like a break in the fabric of time, and there is oftentimes very dramatic events that happen of different forms that give us insight and understanding into our lives. So it's a very beautiful, beautiful transit. And with the North Node, when the sun is with the North Node in your sign, you will have the most profound experience of that, because you will in some way really gain perspective on how your relationships, which is the 7th house, have been informing your life, or what decisions you've made within your relationships. And that's true for Moon, Sun, Rising, even Venus and Mars. And that will gain you insight. So if you have Gemini and Venus, Gemini in or Sun, Moon, Rising, Mars, or Venus, this is relevant. But definitely the most potent for the Sun and Rising. So look at your relationships, have an understanding of, what kind of people you've been exposed to and what kind of circumstances you've been. Especially look at patterns. Is there something that has systemically stopped you, or have you made bad choices about relationships in the past, or what's worked? All those things will very much inform you. And when that break happens, when that eclipse happens, you are going to it's going to take pause, and then you will have an opportunity to shift more than ever, right? So in ancient times, eclipses were looked down upon, and it was something feared and weary. I think it's fantastic. I think that the dramatic aspect of it is that it has so much power behind it that it actually has the potential to sort of shift us more than any other time. So in a recent video, I mentioned that in the weekly last week, you can check it out, I talked about how the North Node is with Aldebaran, which is a fixed star. Now this star has the energy of Mars, and it's very, very potent. So energy of Mars in classical astrology, they used to observe astrological features and attribute to them modalities based on planetary association. So this guy is like, it's kind of like saying Hank is like Bob, so Hank is like Bob over here, so you kind of get an idea of what kind of energy. So what is Martian energy? It's active, aggressive, warlike sometimes, but also resolves conflicts and gives a lot of strength and power. So because this eclipse is happening really on the doorstep of this really powerful star, it was recognized by several different civilizations, ancient civilizations, and used in their astrology. And so when it's paired this way, the sun's power is just magnified. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there's been a lot of solar flares and stuff, which have been measuring higher than the last 80 years. And I think that it probably has something to do with that. But anyway, so yeah, these solar flares are essentially, the sun has these massive explosions, and they're called flares, where it releases certain gases, and it has like massive explosions. And so there's shock waves that come off of that come towards us. So I would say be careful through this time with your electronics and media. There's another reason why it's important to pay attention to your electronics. Mercury's going retrograde on Friday, and so because it's also in Gemini, and if you're a Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, watch out, because all of these energies are just circling around you. So there's a lot of force, a lot of power, a lot of energy in your sign at this time. And I think that you just be wise. Like, I would not keep my computer on overnight. Anything that has sensitive electronics, turn it off when you're not using it. Just be cautious. Everything will be fine, but communications is an issue. So with the eclipse, essentially, it's like you're going in a certain direction, which is the North Node. But the moon, with this dramatic eclipse, right? It's going to be eclipsed. The light's going to the light's going to be taken off of the moon by the Earth's shadow. And so when that happens, it will pivot your timeline. It will pivot your energy, and you will be able to go in a slightly different direction. And this has to do with relationships, and this has to do with your destiny. So I'm thinking that probably you're feeling in some way like you want to go a different path. You're feeling inspired that you want to go a different path, a different direction, that kind of thing. And I feel like it's probably been frustrating for you in some way. I'm picking up on the fact that you've been probably frustrated or irritated, or otherwise you just feel pressure, and maybe not necessarily discomfort, but pressure, and there may be a misalignment. Let's talk about more of the moon, because I know I focus a lot on your sign. When I'm talking about relationships, what I would expect from the other, I would expect for what kind of visions or experiences would it be? With the moon in the 7th house, definitely if you're in a relationship, that is going to become very intense between you and your partner. But also people will be thinking about people from their past in general. There will be many of you who will have moments of deja vu, or like 6 of Cups energy. I wonder if 6 of Cups will come up. And they will in some way provide for you very potent and powerful information about the cycles in your life that you've had, where you come from, and so forth. And that is going to in some way very much give you insight about where you are right now, which is the sun, right, with the North Node. And it's going to center you and give you insight about that and give you an opportunity to change direction, either by, cluing you in, giving you a wake-up call, right? Or possibly by actually having an interaction with someone and changing the nature of that relationship. So you could be forming a partnership with someone. Maybe someone's in your life and you realize just how important they are to you because of past relationships that taught you lessons, right? Or maybe you will, I'm sensing like some of you really want to talk to someone. Some of you really want to discuss things with someone about the nature of their behavior and that sort of thing. So maybe that's what's true for some of you guys. Okay, so why don't we transition into the tarot? And I'm going to pick from several decks of cards just for today and see what kind of energies. So look, we had at the beginning this card. This is the Child card. This is not a traditional tarot deck, so if you're trying to read it yourself, I would not recommend that you apply to it the meanings of tarot. These first cards are timeline cards, so it has to do with youth and youthful energy. And then we have the 10 of Wands. And again, this is a very, very different meaning than the 10 of Wands in tarot. So this is a very empowered pose, somebody who's very well attuned into their energy. Let's see the next energy. I really love these cards, and I think I really see them well used for like centering, sort of like they're very metaphysical. By the way, the members only videos are going to be very esoteric. They're not going to be very practical at all. So they'll have a lot to do with like the North Node, that kind of energy. Okay, and then we have the Maiden, which is another timeline card. Let's see what's there. Okay, so, and this is the 10. And I think this card is called Wisdom. We have another timeline card here, which is called the Youth. So we have 1, 2, and 3 in terms of ages. Here, I'll turn off the... There we go, so we can see all the cards. All right, so what I would say is that this is definitely about a person's personal progress and your personal development. It really tells me that you've been through a lot and now you are sort of coming to terms with the things you have been through. I think finally you're seeing the strength consequence of facing the circumstances you have, and it looks to me like you're beginning a new path in a new direction. So I feel like you're getting ready to like leave the house or go somewhere else from where you've been. And I think that maybe you've already chosen to be a new person. Now that eclipse that's happening in your 7th house is really going to make you think about past relationships and partnerships. So whatever is a partner to you, they're going to come up one way or another, whether it's through your thoughts or whether it's through experiences that you have, like by interacting with people. But in those relationships, you will be faced with questions, or you will be faced with suggestions about whether that relationship is good or not, whether or not that interaction is good or not. And you will in some way kind of learn, and possibly, I hope so, I hope you will see some insights into maybe even, you know how sometimes we ask ourselves, why do we always choose the wrong person to be around? Maybe you'll get some insight into those questions that are so evasive that we all face. That's what I feel. I feel like you'll finally get it. You know, when you finally get it, I feel like that's going to happen. So with these cards, I feel as though you're coming to terms with something. I think at first you're really feeling youthful, young, and impressionable, and then slowly you move forward, like growing up. And this is this week. This isn't over a long period of time. And very soon you'll come to terms with this, and the bigger picture is that you are going somewhere else. You are going in a different direction. Okay, let's pick more cards, and then we'll see how that goes. So that was just like a little warm-up insight. And okay, so I'm going to do maybe 10 cards here. So let's see. We have the Chariot card, and then we have the 2 of Swords, Maybe I'll do 5 and 5. And then we'll do Page of Wands and the 7 of Wands. Okay. And the 4 of Cups. Okay. So what it looks like is that you have something ahead of you that feels extremely intimidating. It feels like you have been intimidated by this in the past many times. I don't feel like it's going to be intimidating now. I feel like you have in front of you a block, or you have a conflict in your life in some way, or some kind of dimension to your life that makes it very hard for you to, it's somewhere where you want to go, but there's a block there. There's a inability to persevere through that, or get through it for whatever reason. And so it comes up in your life time and again, and each time it's that you feel that dread sort of hit you, because you know it's that situation that's your Achilles heel that's difficult for you. But remember, the sun is with Aldebaran, right? So you have more force now than ever to persevere. This is a reading of courage in which you're meant to come to face those things that seem so overwhelming. It has a lot to do with you standing up for yourself, you know? You're meant to stand up for yourself, but also in the past you have refrained from accepting offers from people who were reaching out to you in kindness because you were triggered or upset or you were on guard. And so the challenge is being assertive and sticking up for yourself in the appropriate situations. It seems like a group situation that's really pushing down on you, but it also is pointing out here that there is some kind of kind gesture, a soft, I'll describe it, it's like soft, delicate gesture of someone reaching out to you, bringing kindness to you, trying to help you out in some way. And you have the tendency to turn your back on that because, again, it seems like, you put your walls up by the other things that are happening, and then you miss out on these opportunities. So that's kind of where things are going. You're putting yourself in a new environment too because of all this eclipse energy. Some of you are going to be in dating. This feels like putting yourself in new circumstances, that kind of thing. But the Chariot card is here, and that's very important. So what led us here is that you have gotten over something and you've made certain choices. Now that you have persevered through something that was pressing down on you, you're making certain choices and navigating new territory. So that's what this is saying. Let's take a look at these next cards. I'll do 5 more. Let's see what else is here. We have the Page of Pentacles. Okay. Couple pages. So like I said, and we got that child first, remember, in the first here. I'll leave the card up because I think that's actually really important. A new beginning. And that 10 of Wands, see, it's not like a child in a new phase. It's not like a baby in the sake of being a baby. There's a 10 of Wands behind it. And that 10 of Wands represents mastery. So it's actually, you have achieved something. You have achieved a level of success or strength or power. And you're now interacting with the world at this new level. And that's sort of a part of the conundrum, right? Then we have the 7 of Pentacles. Okay. And then we have the High Priestess. All right. And then we have the 8 of Swords. Thank you. And then we have the 2 of Pentacles. Okay. So I wanted to look at your expansion. You're in a cycle of expansion. It's showing up all over the place. So you're going somewhere where you've never been before, whether it's in a relationship or physically going somewhere. You're definitely changing. And I think this is going to be a theme for everyone, but for you, it just feels like a worldly expansion of where you are and what you are doing. For some of you, it really feels as though you're beginning some kind of new entrepreneurship, new business or a new direction financially. And I think that there's worries about money. So worries about money as in, will I have enough money going in this direction? I paint and I do art. I don't paint, I do everything to do with art. And sometimes it costs a lot of money to start a new direction, but it looks so intriguing. It feels like the right modality. And so it's like that feels like this question. So imagine, buying new supplies and not knowing if that's going to turn out in the way that you want it to. There's this question mark that you're feeling. It's a feeling. It's not saying that there isn't enough money, but you're definitely going to spend some time thinking about that. And I feel as though you're going to have dreams. The High Priestess, not only dreams, but insights about who you are and about like the way forward, like wondering about having true insight about where things are ahead of you. So this is very much like your North Node, and this is kind of like your Sun. So this is you as the Sun, and this is your North Node. So your North Node is seeing, where you're supposed to go. The North Node is saying, go in that direction. That direction is fun. But the physical incarnation of you is like, really? Because there's wolves out there. So there's things out there that, I don't know if I'm ready to face. I don't know how I can face it. So there's that conversation. And then we have the Eight of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. So it is a struggle for you, but it's a good struggle. It's a struggle in which you are coming up against new things. You're challenging yourself. You're facing your demons. You're facing the things that were like roadblocks for you before. You're giving them another chance. You're trying again, and that's very commendable. And so it's what I get in the immediate future, so don't get discouraged, but in the immediate future, what it looks like is that it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's for a reason. And it's because you're doing the work because you're being challenged. You're challenging yourself. You're applying what you like. There's no growth in life without a challenge. There's no chance for you to grow. There's no chance for you to do anything without challenging yourself. If you stayed complacent and comfortable and just hung out in this Four of Cups, then I'll show you my cards are like different, but it's the regular Rider-Waite deck. But anyway, so we have the Four of Cups. So he's resilient, right? And so he's like, nah, I'm not gonna open up. I'm not going to, that's why essentially you haven't gone past before. And I don't like victim blaming, because we're all on a journey and we're all supposed to expand and learn and all that, right? But here the Four of Cups indicates that until now you haven't been able to open up when you were closed down. Maybe you were choosing like people for the wrong reasons, or I sense judgmental. And I'm not calling you out, but I'm saying that those are the things that need to change. And those are the things you're super afraid of. You're super afraid of confronting that, but yet you yearn so much for overcoming. Like, look what you've overcome in the recent past, right? Look what you've overcome in the recent past. You just majorly overcome, and you took your hits there before it. Like, you took your hits, it was a challenge, and it took so much to overcome. And now, like, that if you don't fight this, you'll go back to square one and you'll have to do that cycle again. So it's not really worth it, is it? Okay, so I hope you guys like this reading. Thank you for watching, members. I will be posting maybe later tonight, because the sun, right? I want to do one more sign like this. But members, I'll do the Gemini in-depth astrology and more reading, probably with this deck if you're interested. And yeah, thanks for waiting for your readings, and I'm back. Okay, bye.